Belgium has been a disappointment for the last 10 years. The golden generation, we have um, we've had like a couple tournaments now where they've just not been able to get to a final. The Euros, the World Cup is just getting along in the years where the Belgian team just seems to keep disappointing and disappointing. Kevin De Bruyne, Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Thibaut Courtois. We've had other people come and go in their rosters, but this is the golden generation for Belgium. And they bow out of Euro 2020, losing to Italy 2-1. Italy, who missed the last World Cup. Italy, who looked like they were, they were going towards soccer purgatory, football purgatory, where they're just going to be like a mediocre team in England. England is super competitive. I mean, not England, Europe. Europe is super competitive. So once you lose your top end talent, then you could just be stuck in like the middle, where you just, you keep competing, you keep, maybe qualifying to Euros, qualifying to World Cups. You miss some, it becomes like a normal thing for you to miss, like a World Cup or like some Euros, because Europe is so competitive, and your roster is just not built like that no more. Italy, it looked like they were heading towards that way. I didn't want that to happen, but it looked like they were heading that way. They flip it on their head. They do a complete 180, and now they're in the semifinals. Their team is fun again to watch. But this Italy team that missed the World Cup in 2018 is now, eliminating Belgium with their golden generation, and it's just like, if not today at the Euros, when is it going to happen for Belgium? Is it going to happen next year in next year's World Cup? Because they just seem to be disappointing year in and year out. So they lost to the quarterfinals to Argentina in 2014. They're still young at that point. I remember they beat Team USA, I believe, in the round of 16. That was a great game. It was entertaining. And then in the 2016 Euros, they lost to Wales. They should have never lost to Wales. That was probably the biggest disappointment for this generation. Portugal went on to win that in the final against France. Belgium, on paper, had a way better roster than Portugal at the time. You look at the roster that Portugal has right now, that's not the roster they had in 2016. And Belgium, if they beat Wales, they're right there. They could have potentially made some noise in Euro 2016. In the World Cup, they finished in third place, losing to France. All right, France went on to win the World Cup. They had the deepest team in the world. That, not too bad. Like, it's fine. It's fine to lose. That one's not really like a blemish. Like, that one makes sense. But this time around, like, you got to see, France is out. France was out. Portugal, you guys eliminated Portugal. Germany is out. A lot of the big hitters are out. Like they should have been extremely more focusing what was left on the field. Like, damn, like we're potentially the big favorites now that all these other big hitters are out, and they fell. And honestly, they scored their goal on a penalty, deserved, but like their players, De Bruyne, he keeps getting hurt. This was the best Romelu Lukaku we've had in a while, so I was excited to see them. Thibaut Courtois, I think he should still have this World Cup and the next one. We'll see how Lukaku is able to maintain. He's a big guy, so he might be prone to injuries as he ages. Their center backs are getting really old. They're like, their average age for that starting back three was like 33, I believe. They were like 35, 34, 32. So I don't know. Belgium has always had, a lot of names going up forward, and they've always been weak at the back. They haven't, at first, they had the beast center backs in the middle, but they didn't have wing backs that could really get the job done. That was their weak point. Now their center backs are also getting old. Like, I don't know how many more years Belgium has left from those center backs, and it's not like they have like elite talent coming through the ranks. For them, they do have a couple players that you should get excited about. But like, Belgium kind of reminds me, I'm Mexican American. I know, and the golden generation gets used a lot. Mexico had a golden generation that won the U17s for Mexico back in like 2006, I believe. It consisted of Giovanni Dos Santos. It consisted of Carlos Vela, Villaluz. Ochoa didn't win it, but he was just a couple years ahead of them. Hector Moreno, like Guardado. All of these guys were supposed to be the golden generation for Mexico, and they flopped. Giovanni didn't really do much. Vela was the most talented, but he didn't have, the mentality to go real far with football. And it could happen in the blink of an eye. Like one day, you're the next generation, and the 2014 World Cup comes around, and all these players are out of teams. They're not getting first team minutes. Giovanni is in the MLS, or he's a sub for Villarreal. He's not really playing. His brother is in the MLS. Vela's in the MLS. It just, everything happens in the blink of an eye. And I know Belgium, their golden generation is on a whole different level than the Mexican generation. But like I'm telling you, like it could go in the blink of an eye. Because I'm pretty sure when Belgium fans, any fan of these players in 2014 were probably looking at it like, damn, they have a long way to go. They have so much time. They're all puppies. They're all young. They have a long way to go. And now here, look at us, 7 years later in Euro 2020, and they still haven't won anything, and the time is ticking. And I hope Team USA, this is the best team that Team USA has had probably ever. They're starting to get players playing for big teams, playing all over the place, playing all over the Europe. I hope, they take advantage, because, Belgium, for all the disappointment that they've had, they've third place in the World Cup, semifinals in the World Cup. They've done some noise. If Team USA is even able to do that, that should be good. But man, for Belgium, I really expected more when they were coming up. And you saw how good Kevin De Bruyne was, when you saw how big and powerful Lukaku was, Eden Hazard, he was supposed to be a world beater. He was for a while with Chelsea. He was a beast. Right now without Madrid, he's struggling with injury. He's struggling with form. But maybe it's not over. I think it's over, because in the next year's World Cup, you got all the European big hitters that are going to be there. France is going to be back with the vengeance. Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup, probably they're going to want to put on a strong showing. Argentina, you get the South American teams coming in. Argentina with probably Messi's last World Cup, they're going to want to make some noise. Brazil with Neymar, they just punched their ticket to the final of the Copa America. It just keeps getting harder. This should have been their year, but it wasn't. So what do you guys think? You think this golden generation for Belgium disappointed? And if you think they have disappointed so far, do you guys think they have an opportunity next year in next year's World Cup to make it all right and possibly win the World Cup? Because I don't.